$600 a month. Beautiful women. And Americans who swear they'll never go back home. What's going on in Panama? Sounds like a fantasy, but for thousands of people, this is their everyday reality. You scroll past videos of palm trees and sunsets thinking, that can't be real. But then you hear the stories. People selling everything, packing up, and flying south, not for a vacation, but for a completely new life. Here's the thing. This isn't tea about sipping cocktails by the beach once a year. It's about living on a small budget and still feeling rich. Not just in money, but in time, health, and peace of mind. The kind of rich where your rent is lower than your phone bill back home. The kind of rich where stress takes a back seat and strangers greet you like family. It's no wonder some call Panama a budget paradise. But before you get your hopes too high, let's be honest. Paradise always has its price. Because underneath the palm trees and cheerful expat Facebook groups, real questions come up. Is it safe? Is it stable? And can you really live a full life on just $600 a month? Or is that just online hype to sell you a dream? And what about love? The stories are all over the internet. American retirees finding romance and connection they say they never had back home. Is that true? Or is there more to the story? This video pulls back the curtain. We'll talk about everything. How the cost of living really works. Why so many retirees are hooked. And what makes Panamanian culture so different that people feel transformed after moving here. From dance nights to dental bills, nothing is off limits. Some things will surprise you, some might even shock you. But by the end, you'll understand exactly why so many people are trading everything familiar for a one-way ticket to Panama. So stick around. Because this isn't a fantasy. This is someone's real life, and it could be yours. Some call it freedom. Others call it running away. But the truth is, thousands of people are quietly packing their bags and starting a new life in a place you might not expect. Panama. For most people, the name might bring to mind the Panama Canal or tropical weather. But there's something deeper happening here. What used to be just a small country in Central America has now become one of the most talked about destinations for people who are tired of the rat race and ready for something completely different. Imagine working your whole life in the US, saving as much as you can, only to find out that your retirement check barely covers rent, groceries, and medication. That's the reality for many. But in Panama, that same $2,000 a month can stretch a lot further. A small apartment in Panama City can cost as little as $300 to $450 a month. That leaves you with plenty of money for food, healthcare, and even fun. And we're not talking about living in the jungle or giving up comfort. We're talking about Wi-Fi, air conditioning, coffee shops, restaurants, and clean streets, with the beach just minutes away. Panama isn't just affordable. It's also peaceful. It has no military, and its government is relatively stable. You'll see people from all over the world walking side by side. Locals, tourists, retirees, digital nomads. Over 100,000 expats live here now, and the number keeps growing. Some are older, some are young couples, and some are solo travelers who just didn't want to live their entire life stuck in traffic, bills, and cold weather. They came to Panama for a fresh start, and many say it's the best decision they've ever made. Another reason Panama stands out is its healthcare system. Healthcare here can cost 60 to 70% less than in the US, and the quality is surprisingly good. Many doctors are trained in the US or Europe, and clinics are modern and clean. Imagine paying $20 for a full checkup, or $35 for a specialist visit. And yes, you can even get private health insurance for under $100 a month. That's less than what some people pay just for their phone bill back home. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about a different way of life. A slower pace, a friendlier vibe. People here smile more. They talk to each other on the streets. They take their time in conversations. You don't feel rushed. Even the way people shop is different. Open-air markets, fresh fruits, and vegetables that were picked that morning. You're not just saving money. You're gaining time and peace of mind. Some people come here because they're tired of politics back home. Some are escaping stress or bad relationships. And some just feel like they missed something back in their home country. Some part of life they never had the time to enjoy. In Panama, they find it. They find community. They find good weather. They find silence when they want it, and music when they need it. And maybe most of all, they find freedom. Freedom from high prices, noisy cities, and feeling invisible. Of course, this isn't heaven. There are challenges. You might miss your favorite brand of peanut butter. You might get frustrated with the slow pace of government offices. But somehow, those things feel small when you wake up and see the ocean. Or when a stranger smiles at you for no reason. Or when your wallet still has cash left at the end of the month, and you didn't have to skip meals or delay medical care to make that happen. And then there's the feeling of starting over. People don't talk about it enough, but sometimes we all need a second chance. A reset. Panama has become that place for many people. It doesn't judge you for what you left behind. It welcomes you with warm weather, affordable living, and a kind of beauty that doesn't scream. It whispers. The kind that doesn't ask you to prove anything. You just get to live. So why Panama? Because it offers something that's getting harder to find elsewhere. Space to breathe. A life that doesn't eat away at your savings. A culture that still believes in afternoon naps, long meals, and music that comes from the heart. It's not perfect. But for thousands of people, it's better than what they left behind. And whether you're curious about retirement, romance, or just escaping the daily grind, Panama has likely crossed your screen for a reason. The question is, what will you do with that curiosity? Because for the people already here, that first step turned into a completely different way of living. And they're not looking back. The $600 paradise. Is it real? Let's get straight to the point. Can someone really live in Panama on just $600 a month? It sounds almost too good to believe, especially if you're used to spending that much on groceries alone. But the short answer is yes. It's possible. And not in a rough, uncomfortable way either. Many expats are doing it right now, and they're not just surviving. They're actually living pretty well. Start with the biggest cost in any budget: rent. In Panama, you can find a one-bedroom apartment for about $350 a month. That's for a decent place in a safe area, with running water, electricity, and even air conditioning in many cases. It might not be a luxury condo with a rooftop pool, but it's clean, it's comfortable, and most importantly, it's yours. Compare that to rent in cities like New York or Los Angeles, where $350 doesn't even cover a closet. Here, that same amount can get you your own place, sometimes even with a view of the ocean or the mountains. Then there's food. If you cook at home and shop local, your grocery bill can be as low as $100 a month. That includes fresh fruits, vegetables, rice, beans, bread, and even some meat or fish. The local produce markets are filled with colorful, healthy options. Bananas, pineapples, avocados, tomatoes. You name it, and it's usually cheaper than you're used to. Eating out is also affordable. A typical local meal might cost $3 to $5. It's not fancy, but it's filling and tasty. In some places, you can have a full lunch, rice, beans, chicken, and salad, for less than a cup of coffee back in the States. Utilities are another area where you save a lot. Electricity, water, gas, and even internet can all come in under $50 a month, especially if you're living in a smaller space and using energy wisely. Air conditioning can increase the cost if you use it all day, but most people learn to live with fans, open windows, and cool evenings. Water bills are usually under $10, and some places even included in the rent. Transportation is also incredibly cheap. You don't need a car in most areas because public buses and minibuses go everywhere. A short bus ride might cost 25 cents. Even taxis are affordable. In smaller towns, people just walk. It's easier, healthier, and it saves money. If you want a little more freedom, a used scooter or bicycle can be a great option and cost you almost nothing in fuel or maintenance. Then come the extras, the things that make life feel good: going to a cafe, getting a haircut, or buying a new shirt. These can usually fit within $80 a month if you're careful. Coffee shops often charge under $2 for a fresh cup. Haircuts can be as low as $3 to $5. Even movie tickets are cheaper, especially with discounts for retirees or expats with special cards. There are also free events in parks, festivals, and beach days that don't cost anything. You'll find that entertainment doesn't have to come from malls or expensive places. Sometimes it's just sitting by the ocean, talking to a stranger who becomes a friend. So yes, the $600 paradise is real. It's not a myth, but it does require some adjustment. If you're someone who needs fast internet, organic grocery stores, and a gym with towel service, then you'll probably need a little more than $600. But if you can live simply, enjoy the basics, and focus on what truly matters, like health, time, and community, then $600 can absolutely cover your monthly needs. Let's not pretend everything is perfect, though. Living on a small budget anywhere takes planning. You'll need to choose your location wisely. Bigger cities cost more, imported goods are pricey, and sometimes small costs can sneak up on you, like visa renewals, trips back home, or occasional health expenses, but those aren't monthly bills. For day-to-day life, $600 stretches much farther in Panama than it ever could in most parts of the US, Canada, or Europe. What makes it even more interesting is how peaceful it feels. It's not just cheap, it's peaceful. You start to notice that your heart beats slower. You're not racing through life anymore. You're not always looking at your phone, worrying about bills or emails. There's space to breathe. You eat better because fresh food is cheaper. You sleep better because the noise is different. It's roosters and rain, not sirens and traffic. You smile more because people around you smile more. One expat joked, "Here, the only traffic jam is a parade of parrots." And he wasn't kidding. Life moves slower in Panama, but it moves in a way that feels real. People say good morning. They sit down for lunch. They don't rush through everything. And that change in rhythm starts to affect you in ways you didn't expect. Suddenly, you're not checking the time all day. You're not counting down to the weekend. You're just living. And that's something money can't buy. You realize that stress is optional, that a smaller budget doesn't mean a smaller life. In fact, it might mean a fuller one. You have more time for your hobbies, more chances to talk to people, more moments that feel like yours. So when people say, you can live in Panama on $600 a month, they're not lying. But it's not just about the number. It's about the lifestyle that comes with it. It's about learning to enjoy what you have, letting go of what you don't need, and finding beauty in small things. That's the real paradise. And it's not sold in luxury resorts or travel brochures. It's in the markets, the neighborhoods, and the slow mornings with coffee that doesn't cost half your paycheck. Panama offers that kind of life, and for the people who've made the leap, it's more than affordable. It's freeing. The women of Panama. Beauty, culture, and myths. Panama is known for its biodiversity. Lush rainforests, tropical birds, stunning beaches. But if you ask a lot of the expats who moved here, they'll tell you the diversity extends to something else too. Dating. It's not unusual to hear a retired man say, "I came here for the weather, but I stayed for the women." That kind of statement might sound shallow on the surface, but there's more going on here than just looks. Panamanian women are often described as warm, strong, and full of personality. They carry themselves with confidence and care about how they present themselves. Beauty is definitely appreciated here, but not in a fake or overdone way. You'll see women dressed with style, wearing perfume, smiling as they walk through the market or sit at a cafe. But their charm isn't just about appearance, it's also about attitude. Family values are deeply rooted in Panamanian culture. Many women grow up in close-knit families where respect, loyalty, and connection are taught early. This often shows in how they build relationships, with intention, honesty, and a strong sense of care. For many foreign men, especially those coming from countries where dating feels like a constant game or where they faced divorce or loneliness, this kind of genuine connection can feel refreshing. Some say they feel seen for the first time in years. It's not about being younger or more attractive, although yes, some expat relationships do have large age gaps. But more often, it's about being treated with kindness and attention, which can be surprisingly rare in today's fast-paced dating world. It's easy to fall into stereotypes when talking about women from another culture, but that would miss the point. Not every woman in Panama wants to date a foreigner. Not every relationship is perfect. And not everyone has the same goals. That's why it's important to understand the culture first. Relationships here move slower. People want to get to know you. They expect respect, and they often include their families early on. It is not unusual for someone to invite you to a family lunch after a few weeks of dating. That might feel fast to someone from the US or Europe, but here it's normal. It's a way of checking your intentions. At the same time, Panamanian women are not passive. Don't confuse traditional with tame. If you're rude, disrespectful, or play games, you'll get called out, and quickly. Women here know what they want. They are proud of who they are and where they come from. They may value family and relationships, but they're not afraid to speak their mind. As one expat said with a laugh, "She's sweet, but she doesn't take nonsense." She once scolded a waiter on my behalf, and I was both impressed and terrified. It's also interesting to look at the bigger picture. Panama ranks high in happiness surveys, like Gallup's Global Emotions Report. That's not just because of the weather or the economy. A big part of it comes from how people relate to each other. There's a sense of closeness, of community, and that carries over into dating and relationships. People are more affectionate, more expressive, and often more committed. You don't have to guess where you stand. If someone likes you, they'll let you know. If they don't, they'll tell you too. Many expats find that refreshing. It's not that relationships here are easier, but they're often clearer. There's less confusion, less ghosting, fewer mixed signals. You're either in or you're out. And for people who are tired of dating apps, casual flings, or complicated love stories, that kind of directness feels like a relief. Of course, there are challenges. Cultural differences can lead to misunderstandings. Language barriers might cause funny moments, or frustrating ones. And let's not ignore the fact that some people do come here for the wrong reasons. Some expats treat local women poorly, or expect a kind of attention they haven't earned. That's never okay, and locals talk about it openly. But when there's mutual respect, these relationships can be strong, lasting, and full of joy. You'll also hear stories from Panamanian women who are happily married to expats. One woman, Maria, said, "He listens. He doesn't shout. He helps around the house. That's new for me." Another, named Anna, shared, "We come from different worlds, but we both wanted the same thing: peace, family, and fun." These stories don't make headlines, but they're real, and they're happening more often. It's important to also point out that Panama isn't just a place where men find love. There are foreign women here who date Panamanian men and find the same kind of kindness and charm. The story isn't one-sided. It's about human connection, across cultures, across languages, across habits. And while it's not always smooth, it can be very rewarding. So yes, Panama has beautiful women. But more than that, it has a culture of warmth, respect, and connection that shows up in its relationships. It's not magic. It's not some fantasy land. It's just a place where people still take love seriously, where dinner conversations matter, where meeting the family is a big deal, and where smiles mean something. That's the part that many expats don't expect, but end up valuing the most. It's not about finding someone who looks a certain way. It's about feeling something you haven't felt in a long time. And that feeling, the one where someone sees you, hears you, and genuinely cares, that's the kind of beauty that sticks. American retirees. Why they never leave. They came for the cost. They stayed for the life. That is the most common thing you'll hear from American retirees who now call Panama home. At first, most of them just wanted a place where their retirement check would actually last the whole month. They were tired of watching prices go up while their savings stayed the same. But once they arrived in Panama, something unexpected happened. They realized they didn't just save money. They gained a new way of living. Take Mike, for example. He was a mechanic from Ohio who had a heart scare in his early 60s. He had health insurance, but the bills kept piling up. Stress was making things worse. A friend told him about Panama, and at first he laughed it off. Then he started doing some research and saw how affordable life could be. Within 6 months, he sold his house, packed his tools, and made the move. Today, he lives in a small mountain town where he says his blood pressure dropped within a week. He goes for walks every morning, eats fresh food, and spends less on healthcare in a month than he used to spend on one Dr. ESS visit. When people ask if he misses home, he just smiles and says, "I haven't worn socks in 5 years." Then there's Lisa. She was divorced, living alone, and feeling stuck. She said every day felt the same. Wake up, go to the store, come home, repeat. Her kids were grown and she didn't feel needed anymore. She wasn't unhappy, but she wasn't really living either. She saw a video about Panama, thought it looked peaceful, and decided to visit for a few weeks. That trip changed everything. She met people her age who were living full, happy lives. She saw markets filled with color and music. And most of all, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Light. Not just sunshine, but emotional lightness. Now she teaches yoga part-time, helps out at a local animal shelter, and says the best part of her day is sitting outside in the evening and watching the sky change color. Back home, people age from stress, she said. Here, they unage. And then there are people like Tom. No big story, no tragedy. He just got tired. Tired of bills. Tired of cold winters. Tired of feeling like he was working just to pay off things he didn't even enjoy. One day, he simply said, "I've had enough." He sold everything that didn't fit in 2 suitcases and moved to Panama. He didn't have a plan, just a feeling that life could be better. And it was. He found a small rental near the beach, made a few friends, and now spends his days reading, fishing, and sipping coffee that costs less than $1. He says, life doesn't need to be exciting, it just needs to feel good. Stories like these aren't rare in Panama. In fact, they're common. What starts as a move to save money often becomes a full lifestyle change. People don't just move here to stretch their budget. They move here to stretch their happiness. And the shift is real. They eat better. They sleep better. They feel better. Many say their health improves not because of medication, but because of less stress and more joy. One of the things retirees love most is the pace. Life in Panama moves slower, but not in a boring way. It gives you space. You don't feel rushed all the time. You're not stuck in traffic. You don't have to schedule everything 3 weeks in advance. You can just go for a walk, meet a friend for lunch, or take a nap in the afternoon. These small freedoms make a big difference. And then there's the community. Retirees here often say they feel more connected than they did back home. In many towns, there are expat groups, book clubs, language classes, and social events. People check on each other. Neighbors talk. Friendships grow easily because everyone shares one big thing in common. They chose a different path. That kind of bond goes deep. Of course, it's not perfect. Some retirees miss their families. Others miss certain foods or holidays. But most of them find ways to stay connected. Video calls, care packages, and visits help fill the gap. And many say the trade-off is worth it. "I might miss Thanksgiving dinner," one retiree said, "but I don't miss the cold, the bills, or the feeling that life is just passing me by." The truth is, retirement in the U.S. has become harder. Costs keep rising, and many people feel like they're being pushed aside or forgotten. In Panama, retirees feel seen again. They're not just surviving. They're valued, active, and free. They aren't sitting in waiting rooms or counting pills. They're living in sunshine, laughing with new friends and waking up excited for the day. So, when you hear that American retirees never want to leave Panama, it's not just a catchy line. It's real. They came for the cost, but they stayed for the calm, the color, the friendships, the laughter, the joy of waking up and knowing the day is yours. They found something here they didn't even know they were missing, and once they had it, they weren't willing to give it up. Panama's geographical sweet spot. Want Caribbean beaches and Pacific surf? In Panama, you can have both on the same day. It's one of the few countries in the world where you can watch the sunrise over the Atlantic and set over the Pacific, all without leaving the country. The way Panama is shaped, with water on both sides, gives it a rare kind of access to coastlines that most places only dream about. You could spend your morning swimming in calm Caribbean waters and your afternoon surfing on the Pacific. And it's not just about beaches. The entire layout of the country feels like it was made for variety and adventure. At the heart of it all is the Panama Canal. You've probably heard about it in history class, but what you might not know is how much it still matters today. The canal connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific, and it's one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. Big ships from around the globe pass through it every day, carrying goods between continents. It is more than just an engineering wonder. It is also a major part of Panama's economy. The canal brings in over $2.5 billion each year, and that helps the country invest in things like roads, health services, and infrastructure. Even if you're not into boats or history, it is hard not to be impressed by what this one strip of water has done for Panama. But beyond the canal, Panama's geography is what really makes it special. The country has more than 3,000 miles of coastline, and each part offers something different. If you like white sand, warm waters, and reggae music floating through the air, the Caribbean side is perfect for you. Bocas del Toro is one of the most famous spots on that side. It's a group of islands where time seems to slow down. People get around on bicycles and boats. The water is crystal clear and the vibe is relaxed. It's popular with both locals and visitors, and it's a great place for snorkeling, fresh seafood, and just soaking in the sun. Then there's the Pacific side, which feels different but just as beautiful. The waves are bigger, the beaches are longer, and you'll see more surfers and fishermen. Towns like Playa Venao have become popular with younger travelers and digital nomads. The sunsets here are incredible. Deep orange skies that make you pause and appreciate where you are. And the best part is, it's not crowded. You can walk along the beach for a mile and barely see another person. But it's not all about the coast. Head inland and you'll find Boquete, a small town in the highlands that feels like a different world. While the beaches are hot and humid, Boquete is cool and breezy. It's surrounded by mountains, rivers, and coffee farms. Many retirees and expats choose to live here because the weather is pleasant, the views are stunning, and the town has a calm, welcoming feel. People grow their own vegetables, visit local markets, and spend their afternoons drinking fresh coffee from nearby farms. It's peaceful without being boring. And then there's Panama City, the capital. It's modern, fast-paced, and full of energy. Skyscrapers line the waterfront, and you'll find everything from luxury malls to street food stands. It's a city of contrasts, where high-end restaurants sit next to old churches, and local fishermen sell their catch a few blocks from business offices. Some people love the excitement of the city and live right in the middle of it. Others prefer to stay nearby and visit when they want a taste of city life. Either way, it's nice to have options. That's really the beauty of Panama. You don't have to choose between city, beach, and mountain. You can enjoy them all. The country is small enough that travel between places is easy. In just a few hours, you can go from ocean to jungle to city, and each place feels fresh and different. That kind of variety keeps life interesting. You don't feel stuck or limited. And the weather? Warm all year round. The seasons are simple, dry and rainy. But even during the rainy season, it usually rains for a couple of hours and then clears up. You don't need winter clothes. You don't have to shovel snow. Most days you wake up to sunshine, and that alone can change your mood completely. Panama also has good roads, domestic flights, and public transportation, so getting around is fairly easy. Whether you want to take a bus to a nearby town or fly to a remote island, it's usually affordable and quick. And if you ever want to leave the country or travel back to the US, the main airport in Panama City connects to many major cities with direct flights. All these things, coastlines, mountains, modern cities, peaceful towns, good weather, and easy access, make Panama a true geographical sweet spot. It's like having the best parts of several countries rolled into one small, friendly place. Whether you're looking for quiet mornings, exciting nights, or peaceful afternoons in nature, Panama offers a little bit of everything. For many people, that's the final push. It's not just about saving money or finding sunshine, it's about variety, balance, and feeling like you have choices. In Panama, the geography gives you that freedom, and once you feel it, it's hard to imagine living any other way. Healthcare, visas, and lifestyle benefits. What's the point of paradise if you can't afford to stay healthy? That's a question many people ask when thinking about retiring abroad. For most Americans, healthcare is one of the biggest worries, both in terms of quality and cost. One unexpected illness back home can lead to a pile of bills and serious financial stress. But in Panama, the story is very different. Here, people are finding that they can not only get good medical care, but they can actually afford it without draining their savings. Let's start with the basics. A regular visit to a doctor in Panama can cost as little as $15. That, not a typo. For the price of a burger combo in the US, you can sit down with a qualified doctor who actually takes time to listen. Many doctors in Panama speak English, especially in areas where expats live, and a good number of them have studied or trained in the US, Canada, or Europe. This means you're getting solid, professional care without the shocking price tag. Now, what about insurance? Private health insurance in Panama is available and surprisingly affordable. Many expats pay around $100 a month for a policy that covers hospital stays, surgeries, prescriptions, and even dental care in some cases. And if you're not ready to get insurance right away, you can still pay out of pocket because the prices are so reasonable. A specialist visit might cost $30 to $40. An X-ray? Around $25. Even lab tests are often under $50. It's the kind of pricing that makes you stop and wonder how things got so expensive back home. One expat joked, an ambulance ride in the US can bankrupt you. Here, it's less than dinner at Applebee's. And he wasn't wrong. Emergency care in Panama is quick, competent, and won't leave you choosing between your health and your wallet. In fact, many private hospitals have direct payment options and even English-speaking staff who guide you through the entire process. It feels less like a stressful emergency and more like being taken care of by people who actually care. But the benefits don't stop at healthcare. Panama offers something that a lot of other countries don't, a visa program designed specifically for retirees. It's called the Pensionado Visa, and it's one of the most attractive parts of moving here. If you have a guaranteed monthly income of at least $1,000 from a pension or Social Security, you can qualify for this visa. It's a simple process, and once approved, you get a lot of perks that make everyday life even more affordable. With the Pensionado Visa, you get discounts on a wide range of things. You save 25% on meals at restaurants. You get cheaper bus and plane tickets, both within Panama and internationally. Medical bills and prescriptions, discounted. Movie tickets, utility bills, hotel stays, all come with price cuts. These aren't small savings either. Over time, they really add up, especially for people on a fixed income. It's like being rewarded for retiring smart. Another plus is that the visa doesn't require you to give up your citizenship or sell everything you own. You can keep your home country passport, visit family when you want, and even return if things don't work out. Panama isn't locking you in. It's just opening the door and making it easier for you to enjoy life while you there. Besides the healthcare and visa, Panama also offers a laid-back lifestyle that promotes well-being. People walk more. They eat more fresh food. They spend more time outdoors. Instead of being stuck in traffic or glued to a phone screen, they're having real conversations and enjoying simple things like music, fresh air, and community events. Many retirees say they feel healthier here, not just because of medical care, but because they've slowed down. They're less anxious, more active, and generally happier. This sense of well-being isn't just in people's heads. Studies have shown that Panama scores high in happiness and life satisfaction, especially among older adults. The combination of low stress, affordable living, and strong social connections makes a big difference. People feel like they belong here, even if they weren't born here. That feeling of being welcomed matters, especially when starting over in a new place. There's also a kind of freedom that comes from not worrying about every dollar. Back in the U.S., retirees often have to choose between paying for healthcare or going out to eat. They hesitate to call an ambulance or see a specialist because of the cost. In Panama, those fears shrink. You can focus on enjoying your life instead of protecting your wallet all the time. So when people ask, is it really better in Panama? The answer is often yes, and not just because of palm trees and pretty beaches. It's better because you can stay healthy without going broke. It's better because you get respect and benefits for being retired. And it's better because you have access to care, comfort, and calm without feeling like you're on borrowed time or borrowed money. For anyone thinking about retiring overseas, Panama's mix of affordable healthcare, smart visa programs, and a balanced lifestyle makes it a strong option. It's not just about living longer, it's about living better. And in Panama, better doesn't have to mean more expensive. Daily life. From coffee to culture. What does a normal day in Panama really look like? It's not just beaches and hammocks, though there's plenty of that too. Daily life here has a rhythm that's slower, lighter, and much more relaxed than what many people are used to. It starts with the little things, the small routines that shape each day, and these routines quickly become the best part of living in Panama. Most mornings begin with the sound of roosters. It's not annoying, it's just part of the charm. Streets are quiet at first, then slowly fill with movement. Neighbors sweeping their front steps, children getting ready for school, shopkeepers opening their stalls. The smell of fresh bread and hot coffee floats through the air. And when we say coffee, we mean some of the best in the world. Panama's highlands produce top-quality beans, especially from places like Boquete. Even if you're not a coffee lover when you arrive, there's a good chance you'll become one. A lot of the social life in Panama happens outdoors. People don't rush through breakfast or eat alone. They stop at small coffee stalls or sit on benches with friends. Conversations are easy and unhurried. You'll hear laughter, greetings, and sometimes music playing softly in the background. It's a place where people still look each other in the eye when they talk. By mid-morning, local markets are in full swing. Fresh fruits, vegetables, fish, and bread are sold by vendors who know many of their customers by name. You can buy a big bag of bananas or avocados for just a few dollars. The produce is fresh, colorful, and usually grown nearby. Shopping here feels more personal, more human. Instead of rushing through aisles under bright lights, you walk slowly through shaded stalls, maybe chatting with the seller about what's in season or how to cook something new. Afternoons are quiet. The heat sets in, and people take breaks. It's not laziness, it's balance. Some businesses close for a few hours so workers can go home, rest, or have lunch with family. You don't see the pressure to always be busy. People make time for living, not just working. That's one of the biggest changes newcomers notice. In Panama, taking a break in the middle of the day isn't frowned upon. It's expected. As the sun lowers, towns come alive again. People go for walks, visit parks, or meet for early dinners. The evening air is cooler and full of energy. Families gather in plazas, children play in the streets, and older folks sit outside their homes talking and watching the world go by. There's a sense of peace in these moments, a kind of calm that's hard to describe but easy to feel. It makes you slow down too, without even trying. And then there's the food. Daily life includes simple, tasty meals made from fresh ingredients. You'll find rice, beans, chicken, plantains, soups, and tropical fruits on most menus. Meals are affordable, and you don't have to dress up or book in advance. Whether you're eating at a small local cafe or picking something up from a street vendor, you're getting food that's made with care and served with a smile. Panamanians also love music. It's everywhere, from homes and cars to parks and beaches. Sometimes it's soft background music, other times it's loud and joyful. People dance here without needing a reason. It's just part of life. On weekends, local festivals or small gatherings often include dancing, food, and celebration. Even if you don't understand the words to every song, the feeling is easy to understand. Happiness, connection, and fun. Public spaces are clean, used, and loved. Many towns have walking paths, waterfront areas, or shaded plazas where people gather. You don't need a gym membership to stay active. Walking is normal, and because the weather is warm year-round, people stay outdoors a lot. You'll see retirees walking dogs, young people riding bikes, and families out enjoying the fresh air. What's most interesting is how quickly people adjust to this way of living. At first, it may feel strange to not be in a rush all the time, but soon you realize how much better it feels. You begin to enjoy the slow mornings, the quiet afternoons, the long conversations. One retiree joked, "My biggest worry today is whether I want coconut water or a mango smoothie." And honestly, that's not a bad kind of problem to have. It's not that life in Panama is perfect. There are still chores, responsibilities, and surprises. But the pace is different. There's less noise, less pressure, and more space to enjoy the little things. You start noticing the sound of birds, the smell of flowers, the warmth of the sun. You smile more. You sleep better. You laugh without forcing it. That's daily life in Panama. Not one long vacation, but a steady, simple rhythm that feels good and real. This kind of life doesn't come from expensive gadgets or endless entertainment. It comes from living in a place where people care more about time than money. Where slowing down doesn't mean falling behind, it means catching up with yourself. And once you feel it, you won't want to go back. Culture shocks and adjustments. Let's be real, it's not all palm trees and pina coladas. While Panama is a beautiful and peaceful place to live, moving here does come with a few surprises. Things don't always work the way you're used to, and it takes time to get used to the local ways. These little differences are what people call culture shocks. Some are funny, some are frustrating, but most become good stories later. One of the first things new arrivals notice is that time is flexible. In many Western countries, being late is seen as rude or unprofessional. In Panama, it's different. People don't rush. If someone says they'll meet you at 2 p.m., they might show up at 2:30 or later. Appointments don't always start on time, and things just move at a slower pace. At first, it can feel annoying, but after a while, you realize that no one is trying to be rude. It's just a different way of living. People value relationships more than the clock. And once you stop stressing about it, you start to enjoy the slower rhythm. Another thing that surprises many newcomers is how creative the bureaucracy can be. Paperwork here often takes longer, and the process isn't always clear. Getting something simple done, like opening a bank account or applying for a driver AS license, might take more than one visit. Forms may be missing. Offices might be closed during lunch. Rules can change from one person to the next, but somehow it usually works out in the end. One expat shared a funny story about trying to get his Panamanian driver's license. He went to the office early, brought all the documents, and waited in line. After some confusion and being sent to different windows, he was told the system was down and to come back the next day. But as he was leaving, someone invited him to a local parade that was happening nearby. He went, joined the celebration, and ended up making new friends. The license had to wait, but the day was still a win. That's how Panama works sometimes. You go in for paperwork and come out dancing. Language can also be a challenge at first. Spanish is the official language, and while many people speak at least some English, especially in popular expat areas, it's still helpful to learn basic Spanish. Simple phrases like "How much does it cost?" or "Where is the bathroom?" can go a long way. You'll get by with hand gestures and smiles, but the more Spanish you pick up, the smoother your life becomes. Locals usually appreciate the effort, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Infrastructure is another area where expectations need to shift. Panama is growing and improving, but not everything runs like clockwork. Internet speed may vary depending on where you live. Roads in small towns might have potholes. Trash pickup could be late. Power outages happen now and then, especially during storms. These things are not daily problems, but they do happen, and being flexible helps a lot. The key is to stay calm and patient. Most locals just shrug and say, "It's Panama," then carry on with their day. Shopping can be different too. Don't expect Amazon Prime or 24-hour delivery. In fact, some things you're used to buying online may not be available at all. But you might discover new options, like the fruit vendor who shows up every Tuesday with fresh mangoes, or the neighbor who sells homemade bread from her front porch. One expat said, "I stopped waiting for Amazon and started looking around my block, and honestly, it's better this way." That kind of local connection is hard to find in bigger, busier places. And yes, there will be little things that make you scratch your head, like why the store is out of milk for a whole week, or why the ATM is working for everyone except you, or why a holiday you've never heard of suddenly shuts everything down for 2 days. These things used to bother people until they realized it's part of the charm. In Panama, the unexpected is normal. The best approach is to laugh, adapt, and keep moving. At first, all these cultural quirks might feel like obstacles, but over time, they become part of the experience. You learn to plan ahead. You carry a book when you go to appointments. You stop taking things too seriously. You start to understand that life here isn't built around perfection. It's built around people, patience, and presence. And that's when the real shift happens. You stop comparing everything to how it works back home. You stop expecting the same speed, the same rules, or the same results. Instead, you start to enjoy the small wins, the random surprises, and the slower pace. You laugh when the power goes out, and you light a candle instead. You smile when your neighbor brings you mangoes instead of a mail package. And little by little, Panama becomes not just a new country, but a new comfort zone. So yes, there are culture shocks, but most of them are small bumps, not big walls. With a little humor, a bit of patience, and an open mind, you'll find that even the tricky parts of Panama come with their own kind of charm. And soon, they won't feel strange at all. They'll just feel like life. Hidden towns and hotspots where the smart expats go. Not every foreigner who moves to Panama ends up in the capital city or a popular beach resort. Many smart expats choose smaller, lesser-known places that offer peace, beauty, and a lower cost of living. These hidden towns and local hotspots have become quiet favorites among those who want a better quality of life without the big crowds or high prices. Let us take a look at a few of the most loved spots, and one surprise location that may just be the real jackpot. First up is Boquete, a small mountain town in the highlands of western Panama. This place is no longer a complete secret, but it still keeps its charm. Many expats are drawn here because of the cooler weather, clean air, and stunning views. The town is surrounded by green hills, rivers, and coffee farms. The mornings are crisp, the nights are calm, and the atmosphere is relaxing. For people who don't enjoy hot and humid beach weather all year round, Boquete is the perfect alternative. It has a large expat community, Plenty of small cafes, markets, and even hiking trails for those who like to stay active. It's also known for its safety and friendly locals, which makes it ideal for retirees and solo travelers. Next is Coronado, a beach town that's more laid back than flashy. It's just a couple of hours from Panama City, so it's easy to get to but still feels far enough away to relax. Coronado has become a go-to spot for people who want the beach lifestyle without giving up convenience. You'll find grocery stores, clinics, restaurants, and even golf courses nearby. The beaches here are quieter than the tourist-packed areas, and the vibe is calm. People spend their days walking on the sand, reading books under palm trees, and enjoying life without a schedule. It's not a party town, it's a chill town, and that's exactly why people love it. Then there's David, pronounced David, which might surprise some. It's the second largest city in Panama, but it still feels small compared to Panama City. What makes David stand out is the balance it offers. You get city-like features, shopping centers, hospitals, banks, and schools, without the noise or stress of a big city. The cost of living here is lower than in other parts of the country, and because it's not a tourist hotspot, prices for rent and food stay reasonable. It's a great choice for people who want more services and infrastructure but still want a slower pace of life. And from David, you're only a short drive away from beaches or the mountains, so you really get the best of both worlds. Each of these places has something unique to offer. Boquete gives you the mountains. Coronado offers quiet beach life. David brings a city feel at a small-town price. It really depends on what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. Some people even move around for a while before picking their favorite. That's one of the advantages of living in Panama. It's small enough to explore but full of different options. Now, here's the tease. There's one place few people talk about. It's not as well known as Boquete or Coronado, and it doesn't have the same number of expats yet. But the ones who know about it are calling it the best hidden gem in the country. What makes it so special? That's coming up in the next section. For now, what matters is this. If you're thinking about moving to Panama, don't stop at the big names. Look a little closer. Visit the smaller towns. Talk to the locals. You might find that the place where you truly feel at home is not the one with the biggest ads or the fanciest hotels, but the one where life just feels right. The smart expats already know this. They've gone off the main path, and many of them say it was the best decision they ever made. The emotional decision: escape or evolution. Moving abroad isn't about the money, it's about meaning. Sure, the lower cost of living in Panama is a big reason why people pack their bags and leave their old lives behind. But if you ask those who've actually made the move, they'll tell you something deeper. They weren't just looking for cheaper rent or better weather. They were looking for a new beginning, a second chance, a life that felt more real. For many, the choice to leave their home country comes after years of feeling stuck. Some feel invisible after retirement. Others carry regrets, things they didn't do, places they didn't go, chances they didn't take. Life back home can feel fast, stressful, and lonely. There's pressure to always be doing more, achieving more, even when you're already tired. So when people finally step away from all that and land in a calm place like Panama, it feels like a breath of fresh air, not just for the body, but for the soul. This change isn't just physical, it's emotional. Moving to a new country means letting go of old routines, old habits, and sometimes even old identities. That can be scary. You might wonder, who am I now? But that question is also the beginning of something new. Some people find answers they never expected. They discover new parts of themselves, not because they were trying, but because Panama gave them the space to grow without pressure. Take Sandra, for example. She worked in an office for 30 years and always dreamed of teaching but never had the time or confidence to try. After moving to Panama, she started helping out at a local community center. At first, it was just one day a week, reading stories to children. Then she began teaching English classes. Now she does it full-time and loves it. "I thought I was just moving to retire," she says. "Turns out I started a whole new chapter." Then there's James. He lost his wife to illness and felt like the light in his life went out. He moved to Panama hoping to find peace, not knowing if he would ever feel joy again. Slowly, things began to change. A neighbor invited him to a barbecue. Someone else showed him a hiking trail. He joined a book club. Months later, he was smiling more, laughing again, and even started painting, something he hadn't done since college. "I didn't just move homes," he says. "I came back to myself." Stories like these are not rare. In fact, they're more common than people think. Panama doesn't just offer new surroundings. It offers a new start. A place where you don't feel judged. A place where no one cares about your past titles, mistakes, or resume. They care about who you are now. That's powerful. That kind of freedom is hard to find. You're not just changing homes. You're changing hearts. You begin to connect with people again. You make new friends, not just out of convenience, but out of shared joy and curiosity. People bond over walks, coffee, music, or simply being new in the same place. The friendships you make abroad often feel stronger because they're based on being real, not just being busy. And then there's the feeling of control. Back home, many people feel like life is just happening to them. Bills come. Schedules fill. Days pass in a blur. But in Panama, life slows down enough for you to feel in charge again. You choose how to spend your time. You decide what matters. And when every day starts with a clear sky and a warm breeze, it becomes easier to focus on what makes you happy. Of course, starting over isn't always easy. There are tough days. You might miss family, feel unsure, or worry if you've made the right decision. That's normal. But most people who take this leap say the rewards are worth the discomfort. You grow stronger. You become braver. And in the process, you learn that it's never too late to change your life. So, is moving to Panama an escape or an evolution? Maybe it starts as one and becomes the other. Maybe you come here running from something, but you end up running into something better. A simpler life, a fuller heart, a quieter mind. In the end, it's not just about saving money. It's about finding meaning. It's about giving yourself permission to start over. Not because you have to, but because you can. And in Panama, that kind of fresh start is not only possible, it's waiting. FAQ Quick Hits. By now, you've heard a lot about what life in Panama is like. But some questions always pop up when people start thinking seriously about making the move. So let's go through some of the most common ones. Quick, simple, and honest answers to help clear things up. Can I really live on $600 a month? Yes, you can, but it depends on how you live. If you're okay with living simply, eating local food, and skipping luxury items, $600 can cover the basics. Many people do it. Rent in smaller towns can be as low as $300. Groceries are cheap if you stick to local markets, and public transport barely costs a thing. But if you like eating out at fancy restaurants, shopping often, or want a big house near the beach, you'll need more. The good news is, even if you spend more than $600, you'll still likely spend far less than you would back home. Is it safe? Overall, yes. Panama is one of the safer countries in Central America. Like any place, it has areas where you should be more careful, especially in certain parts of the big cities. But in most towns and popular expat spots, people feel safe walking around, even at night. Crime rates are lower than in many major U.S. cities, and locals are usually friendly and helpful. If you use common sense, pay attention to your surroundings, and treat people with respect, you'll likely feel very safe here. What's the internet like? In most cities and towns, the internet is fast enough for video calls, streaming, and working online. Panama City and other developed areas have solid service. Some smaller towns might have slower speeds, especially in remote locations, but even there, you can usually get by. Many expats work remotely from Panama without problems. If stable internet is a big part of your life, Just make sure to check the connection speed in the area before you rent a place. Can I bring pets? Yes, your dog or cat can come with you. Panama allows pets, and many people move here with their furry friends. There's a bit of paperwork involved: vaccination records, a health certificate from a vet, and approval from Panama's authorities. It might sound like a lot, but many people do it successfully. Just make sure to check the latest rules before you fly. And here's the fun part: your dog might love it here more than you. One expat laughed and said, "Yes, your dog can come, but he might prefer the mangoes to the kibble." Can I start a business? Yes, you can, but there are some rules. Foreigners are allowed to own and run businesses in Panama, as long as the business isn't in a field restricted to Panamanians, like taxi driving or some retail jobs. Many expats open restaurants, coffee shops, online businesses, or offer services like yoga classes or language tutoring. Panama makes it fairly easy to register a company, and the costs are lower than in many other countries. If you have an idea and do your homework, starting a small business here is totally possible. What about healthcare? Is it good? Yes, the healthcare system in Panama is one of its biggest advantages. You can get quality care at a much lower price than in the U.S. Many doctors speak English, especially in private hospitals. Expats often pay out of pocket because it's so affordable. A regular doctor visit might cost $15.25. Private insurance is available and not too expensive either. Overall, most people are pleasantly surprised by how good the healthcare is here. Do I need to speak Spanish? It helps, but you don't have to be fluent. In areas with a lot of expats, many locals speak basic English. But learning even a little Spanish will make your life easier and more enjoyable. You'll be able to connect more with people, get better deals at markets, and understand more of what's going on around you. Plus, locals really appreciate the effort, even if your grammar isn't perfect. These are just a few of the top questions, but they all point to one thing: Panama can work for a lot of different people. Whether you're looking to retire, start over, or just try something new, there's a good chance you'll find what you're looking for. You don't need to have it all figured out from day one. Just bring curiosity, patience, and an open mind, and the rest will fall into place. Big reveal. Is Panama worth it? So, after everything we've talked about, the low cost of living, the peaceful lifestyle, the friendly people, and the beautiful places, you might still be wondering, is Panama really worth it? The honest answer? It depends on what you're looking for. Panama isn't perfect. You'll deal with slow paperwork, random power cuts, and days when things don't go as planned. The pace is slower, and some systems can feel unorganized. You might miss certain comforts from back home, and learning to live in a new culture always takes time and patience. But if you're the kind of person who values peace over perfection, this could be exactly the kind of life you've been missing. Many people come to Panama for one reason: cheaper living, but end up staying for something much bigger. They find clarity. They find space to think. They find time to breathe again. Some even say they found themselves. And that's something money can't buy. Living here gives you more control over your time, your health, and your choices. You can live without always worrying about bills. You can go for a walk, have a good meal, meet new people, and still have money left at the end of the month. For many people, that's more than enough. It's more than they had before. It's what they've been searching for. Panama gives you a simpler life, but not a boring one. There's joy in the small things: a cup of strong local coffee, a neighbor waving good morning, a sunset that feels like a painting. These moments may seem small, but they add up. And when you stop rushing, you start noticing them more. That's when life starts to feel richer. Of course, it's not for everyone. If you need things to be fast, highly organized, or just like home, you may feel frustrated here. But if you're open to change, ready to adjust, and willing to let go of a few habits, you might discover something beautiful. You might find peace. You might find freedom. You might even find happiness in a way you never expected. As one expat put it, some say they found paradise. Others found themselves. So, is Panama worth it? For many, it absolutely is.